Hey guys, so I wanted to talk a little bit about conversion optimization. How do you get your free readers to convert to paid readers? So this is really important. And over time, you're going to get better at this. You're going to try different things, A/B test, and find what works for you. So for me, I'm just going to list some random things I've learned in my first year on Substack. And one of the most important things is your about page, but even more important, it's the welcome email that people get when they first sign up. So the main thing is to get them to reply to the message. Doing this establishes a rapport where they will be more likely to invest in you as you reply to them, thanking them and asking them what kind of content they would like to see. Being really attuned to your readers is really important. Another thing is to get them to drag you from their promotions tab in Gmail into the primary or whitelist your email. You can do that in a number of ways. I really recommend emojis in the welcome newsletter just because it's a lot easier to scan when there's some visual signals. Another thing that a lot of newsletters forget to do is to always have a subscribe button near the top of your newsletter post, right? So one of the main things you want them to be clicking on is the subscribe button. Because listen, even if you only have a 10 to 15% conversion on that button, just having it each time is a pretty good idea. Another thing that newsletters sometimes forget is they forget to post more often. The more often you post, the more chance people are actually going to convert to your content. So don't worry so much about the open rate. The open rate will fluctuate and will go down drastically as your list gets bigger and as people just churn in the first 6 weeks to 3 months, a great deal more than they will ever churn. So you can do one of two things. You can just keep the list big, or you can prune the list of inactive emails. That's no problem. Conversion optimization is something I'm going to be talking about a lot more because it's one of the key drivers. Substack expects us to be earning a lot of our revenue through paid subs. So optimizing that is kind of important. Whereas on Beehive, they have more of this advertising approach, grow your letter free and we'll take care of the rest. It remains to be seen if that's an effective way for creators to solve their monetization issues. Anyways, I'll be watching both approaches and testing accordingly. So what else do I really find converts on Substack? I really like the page break. So this means that every post you write is actually a paid newsletter, but the preview can be kind of long. So some people put it at 50%, some people put the paid page break at 75% down. The whole point is you want to be adding extra value to your paid subscribers and giving an incentive and giving a hook for people to actually subscribe, right? Because what's $5 to $10 a month for most people, right? They're going to check you out, they're going to try your 7-day free trial, and then they'll know better if they want to stick with you or not. So having frequent posts is actually a good way to convert because over time you're getting more conversions, right? So let's say I'm getting, I don't know, one paid subscriber each post I write. Over time, that makes a big difference. If I'm writing 4 times a month versus, 8 times a month, it's actually going to compound completely differently. So those are some of the major tips I would say to the average new newsletter. Of course, everything's going to work differently depending upon your niche, depending upon where the traffic is coming from, depending upon what you're offering your paid users, right? So real premium newsletters, they'll offer like a backstage pass and a community and a podcast and all these other things that really provide a lot of value. So other newsletters will provide more paid content, more articles, more in-depth insights, different takes, more content. So there's so many value propositions that you can add to help convert. And honestly, at the end of the day, the faster your free readers grow, no matter your conversion rates, right? In some categories, you'll have 5 to 10% conversion rates. That's great. But in my category of technology, it's way lower, guys. It's way under 3%. Either I'm doing something completely wrong, or honestly, just different categories convert differently, right? The other thing with paid conversion is you want to have an emotional hook, right? The more sentimental value, the more your beliefs align with your readers, the more they're going to actually want to support you, right? I'm not advocating sentiment amplification. I find it just atrocious on Twitter and politics and elsewhere. I think it's a black hat technique of the advertising internet. So I'm going to try and write more about news and facts. That's just my approach. And hey, maybe that's why my conversion rate is so much lower than some of the baselines Substack promises some of these journalists and some of these big influencers, right? If you're not an influencer, you might not have that crazy conversion rate. The other thing to do with conversion rates is if your niche is really special, if you're the only one writing about what you're writing about, your conversion rate is going to be very high. It's like this ski guy, he writes about the ski hills in the US, and he does it so well. He interviews the owners, he interviews the hill managers, and he constantly churns out this content that's really highly searchable, right? He's probably the only one doing that. So yeah, his conversion rate's gonna be like over 10% or over 15% or whatever the case may be. The same with some political influencers, right? They're so able to tap into the common sentiment, into the unrest, into the conspiracy theories or whatever the case may be, their conversion rate can be like over 20%. It actually is possible. My approach is, well, you drive the most free subscribers you can, and your content is kind of going to do the rest. So these are many of the tactics that I use. So optimize your welcome email, offer the paid button near the top of your emails, use the page breaks a lot, do a lot of paid content with just paid at the bottom, the bonus section, right? So those are my 3 big tips for conversion optimization on Substack newsletters, and try and see what works for you. A/B test different things. Even the name of the subscription button, right? So it's sometimes subscribe now, it's sometimes pledge your support, it's sometimes upgrade now or upgrade to premium. There's different call to actions that you can use on that button, and just A/B test it and see which one is the most effective for your audience, guys.